Welcome to Engagement Fundraising, where you'll learn how busy fundraisers like you are generating more major and planned gifts at lower costs. Brought to you by iMarketSmart.com, the software and services company that helps nonprofits raise more money more efficiently.
The day is here, Greg. The day is upon us. The final episode of season 2 of the show.
It's over?
This season, yeah.
Season is over.
Yeah. But we'll be back, and we'll be talking about your new book coming out next season. So that's exciting.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I have happy things to talk about because we got a new coffee maker up front.
And it's overfilling the cups because we're not used to a working coffee maker.
Yeah. This is the best coffee. This is really good coffee. Have you had coffee like this?
I don't like the taste of coffee, so I'm going to take your word for it that it's great.
Oh, that's so good. Look at that.
It looks like great.
A little cup of heaven. Yeah. I'm so happy about that. All right. But we got to talk about the day of reckoning.
Yeah. What is this? This last episode we talked about, fundraising, climate change, how things are changing for nonprofits.
Warning. Danger. You ever remember those horror movies? There's a bunch of happy teenagers and they're running around. They got the Jeep and there's no, it's like convertible. And
I got some beers.
Everybody's happy.
Yeah.
And then they just happen to walk by some dude and they're like, hey, what's up, old man? He's like, don't go in the house. And you're like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah. Start of every great horror movie from the 80s or 70s.
I'm that guy.
Yeah.
I'm like,
You're the old guy saying, don't go in there, you're going to die.
Yeah. I'm like, look, I'm waving the flag. I'm like, fundraising, climate change. If you haven't heard that one, go back to that episode.
Yeah, episode 9.
Waving I'm like, danger. Yeah, but there's bigger things because now we're going to talk about the day of reckoning.
Yeah, what happens if you don't heed the warnings.
Yeah, and I saw this. I saw it. This is the first time I actually saw it.
We are able to look at some data. We're not going to tell whose data, but in this case, we're actually able to look at data, and this is what happens when you don't heed the warning.
So let me lay it out here of how we saw this. Our fundraising report card
at fundraisingreportcard.com.
Thank you. Collects, thankfully, thousands and thousands of nonprofits are putting their data in it, or they're just syncing it because we sync with so many CRM.
Mm-hmm.
And we get to see all this data and we're creating the benchmarks for the sector.
Yeah.
And we get to see, right? But also through our surveys, millions of surveys in our survey platform, in the core platform, we get responses from donors telling us their ages.
Yep. So
think of these data points.
Mm-hmm.
We're looking at revenue and we're looking at ages. Okay. And there's a lot more than that we're collecting, but I just want to lay that down. We're looking at revenue and ages. Now, most nonprofits have a pretty similar bell curve of the age groups, the demographics that are giving.
Right. They've got a continual pool of new donors that are aging up, and they've got the older donors. And
when you look at all your donors, there's a bell curve. It skews to the older generation. It's mostly baby boomers right now.
Yep.
Right now, finally we got some data from a new prospective customer.
Okay.
Can't tell you who it is.
No.
But we put in that data, and firstly, we, along with the client, we saw that their fundraising revenues are just dropping. It doesn't matter how fast they bring in new donors. It doesn't matter. The revenues just keep dropping.
Okay. That's not good.
That's not good. The chart just looks awful. But then when you look at the ages of this particular organization, their donor base is so much older than everybody else's that I've ever seen. I've never seen a donor base that is skewed so heavily in the 80s and 90s, maybe some 70s. It's not the baby boomers.
Yeah.
It's older.
And these people are still living in the old fundraising world where they'll give blindly towards your organization without looking into why they should trust you and things like that.
Yeah. I mean, great. It was the good old days.
Send out a little envelope. They'll send you some stuff back.
And here's the thing. This particular organization, their donor base is skewed so old, they're unable to give it. And they're actually dying. It's shrinking. It's just literally dying off.
And they're not getting enough new donors to combat that.
No.
Yeah.
And you can't.
Yeah, because it's systematic at that point where they've been doing this so long. It would take a long time to ramp that up to get to where you need to be to do that.
Yeah. So what's the conventional wisdom on that? The conventional wisdom is, well, we better ramp up more acquisition and everything.
Yeah.
Pretty expensive.
Sure.
Very expensive. And if you're going to ramp that up, you better ramp up stewardship and retention as well.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you create more activity and more donations without plugging your leaky holes in your leaky bucket, you're going to be in a lot of trouble.
Yeah. Very, very expensive to do all.
Yep. And you'll end up back at square one. No success.
Mm-hmm.
So what did I tell them? I said, you guys have got to market planned gifts immediately and hope that you get in that last change of their final will. So yet to be seen if they actually do that. But think about it. One legacy gift is worth like the giving of an annual fund donor 200 years.
You're right. Yeah.
Right.
So the hope is get enough of those. You can use those funds to do it right and start getting new blood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hopefully it works.
Yeah. Because obviously they weren't attracting young blood to begin with. So something about how their messaging just didn't connect with that generation.
Not only were they not attracting younger blood, but they weren't stewarding the older donors in a way that led to legacy giving and major giving.
Okay. So they're just going after a couple bucks here and there from the people they did have.
Yeah.
Okay.
And in fact, they never engaged with those supporters in a deeply meaningful, strategic way to find out what's in their heart and help facilitate giving in a way that would result in sustainability for the organization, which is a mission. It's something that both the organization and the donors want.
Mm-hmm.
It's just it was never strategically discussed with the donors.
And this organization, I believe I can say this, has very tangible ways that a donor could fill out their mission and dream by helping with.
Very tangible. The problem is that even in the major gifts area, it was always a transactional type of ask.
Yeah.
They never got into a strategic level discussion about how the donor could really find meaning in their life through giving. In a principal gift, a major gift, an impactful gift for all time.
Yeah.
So what I'm trying to say about all this is that this is sort of like the warning shot in the Revolutionary War.
Okay. Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like that first shot heard round the world that started the war.
Yeah.
I hate to equate it to war.
Sure.
I don't know. I have another analogy. But I finally saw it. I said, this is going to happen. If you're not engaging people and finding out what their goals are and twining their mission with your mission and speaking about strategic ways that they can actually make a gift that will help the organization for all time and help the organization beneficiaries of for all time.
Yeah.
If you're not engaging in lead generation and cultivation and stewardship and qualification, prioritization, and getting to have those kinds of high-level discussions with people who care, they're gonna die and they're not gonna include your organization in their plan.
You didn't bother.
You didn't bother. You were always just trying to get that next donation, $5,000 here, 10, maybe even 30, 40, but you never got to that highly strategic level. I think this is the first time I finally saw it in the data.
Yeah.
And it just so happens that this organization's donors skew much older than most of the others that we see.
Which will make the data show what's happening much more clearly since they're dying off.
Yeah.
It makes it crystal clear as to what the problem is.
And this is going to happen, mark my words, across the sector.
Yeah.
For other organizations that are not engaging properly.
The way you described it, it's almost like the status quo. They're just comfortable with how things have been and, we'll coast.
Let's just be transactional about it.
Yeah.
Let's not give them value. This is a big problem. It's a doomsday episode. And I saw it. And I can see the other organizations, they have the same bell curve. It's just skewing a little bit younger.
Yeah.
So it's going to start happening and people are going to wonder, now what do we do? Well, you know what? It's a little too late.
Yeah.
So then they're going to try and fill their leaky buckets or the buckets of people who are just passing away with new blood. Here's the problem with that. The next generations, I mean, the younger half of the baby boom generation, the one that, you know, marched against the Vietnam War and was distrusting of Nixon and Watergate and all this stuff. You think they're going to trust the way that the silent generation did? I don't think so.
They'll want to be more involved.
More involved. They want more engagement.
This episode is brought to you by us here at MarketSmart and the Fundraising Report Card. What is the Fundraising Report Card? Well, it's a free service offered at fundraisingreportcard.com that enhances your fundraising efforts with easy-to-use analytics and charts. Get your proposals approved faster by using these beautiful and elegant charts created automatically with fundraisingreportcard.com. You'll also find a great blog that dives deep into what data means for your organization and how you can use it effectively to make smarter decisions. Start learning and start generating beautiful charts by going to fundraisingreportcard.com. Now, back to the episode.
What about the Generation Xers? I'm one of them.
Yeah, how do you guys think?
You think we trust people? We don't trust people.
No.
I mean, what do Generation Xers even known for? I don't feel like I'm part of a generation. Nirvana. That's about it. Guns N' Roses? I don't know.
Yeah.
Bon Jovi?
Good music. I don't know.
Here's the best thing about Generation Xers. There was one year when all the best movies ever created were released.
All the best movies.
Yeah. This is 1984.
Okay, got Temple of Doom.
What else?
Come on, Tim. The best movies of all time were created for the Generation X generation.
Okay. So I pulled up the Wikipedia from that year. You got
Temple of Doom, Karate Kid, Terminator, Gremlins, classic.
Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah.
You know, Red Dawn. What was that guy's? Splash. Revenge of the Nerds. Friday the 13th, the final chapter. But hold on. What about 16 Candles? Police Academy. Footloose.
This was a killer year. You could just stay in the movie theater all year long and you'd be all set.
I'm telling you, these were the best. Conan the Barbarian, Purple Rain with Prince.
Yeah. That Conan soundtrack is so good.
But anyway, you get the idea.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much what Generation X does.
Okay, they just watch amazing movies.
We had good movies.
Yeah.
That was it.
Yeah.
Sorry if you're a Generation X or I am. I don't know what we're good for.
I mean, we all appreciate good entertainment.
Yeah. So after that,
yeah.
What's that next generation? Is it millennials? Generation Y, maybe. Generation Y?
I'm not good with the generations.
Anyway, bottom line.
We're all getting more and more mistrusting.
Nobody trusts anybody anymore.
No.
Right?
No.
So what does that mean for nonprofits? You got to engage more. You're going to need to involve more. You got to be more transparent.
You have to find ways to allow people to trust you. And that means engaging more, being more open about your goals. And
providing value, I think, is the key. Making donors feel good. You can't just ask for money, expect them to give you money, and then say, okay, that was good. Let's do it again. It's not a fair dance. And the younger generations, I mean, younger than the silent generation, are not going to put up with this crap.
No.
This is my forecast. I think there's a day of reckoning coming. Not for our customers.
No.
What do we do? How do we make this upbeat?
So listen to the last episode where we talk about this change and why it's happening and how you can make sure you're not being torn into this. And I'd say it's upbeat in that if you do recognize this, make the change and you'll reap the rewards and be one of the, I guess, few nonprofits that are doing it right and can have a lot of major gifts and planned gifts that are making a huge impact for the organization.
So there's good news, Tim.
Excellent. What is it?
We need some good news in this episode, right?
This is the season finale. I can't leave on a
finale.
low note.
Yes.
Has to be great.
The good news is that there's very simple way to combat this day of reckoning. First step is to admit that we have a problem. Okay.
Yep.
I'm sad to say that too many people in the sector are putting their heads in the sand, and they just figure that once the problem really starts to show itself, they're going to jump ship.
Yeah.
That's what they'll think, well, I'll just leave. I'll go find another job. The problem is that bell curve that I was talking about, it's going to be hitting everybody.
Yeah, so you're on a boat and you jump to the Titanic that has a larger body of fillable area before it sinks, and then you have to jump to a bigger Titanic, and eventually all the boats will sink. Yeah.
Well, I don't think the sector is going to completely collapse, but there is going to be a big shakeup. Maybe there's mergers, maybe there's acquisitions, maybe it's just that all these like charity water type of nonprofits that weren't around 15 years ago and now they're like doing 100 million, and you're like, I don't know, it came out of nothing. How did that one get to be $100 million a year? How is that possible? We can't even grow 10% a year. We can't even grow 5% a year. And here's this guy, he starts it on a kitchen table and he's got $100 million. Well, yeah, it might evaporate and just go. Look, if you look at the top 400 charities in America from the Philanthropy 400, the top ones were not there 15 years ago.
And in today's age of virality and social media and stuff, it's easy to believe that some nonprofit gets started today that becomes huge.
Exactly.
Stuff spreads really quick these days.
It can happen if you do it right.
Mm-hmm.
So, admitting that there's actually a problem, we need a collective conscious awareness among the sector, which of course I'm trying to push.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we'll be talking more about this in the next season as we go through some of your book stuff.
Yes.
Very much applies.
Because as we said in the last episode, you're Yoda, I am Obi-Wan, and we are here to guide them and show everybody the way to the Force.
Yes.
Away from the dark side. Number one, admit you got this problem. And I can show anybody the data if I won't show them which organization. The next step is to believe that we can fix the problem. And guess what? We can. I sound like hallelujah.
Yeah, you're on the TV.
What are they? Not that religious. I'm talking like the self-help sales guys or whatever.
Yeah.
So, you got to believe that there is a power that can help you. And the power is simple. It's just being fair, delivering value, being honest, being transparent, helping people, engaging with them in a way that makes them feel good. So once you realize that you have that power, you can do it. You don't have to do it the way that you used to do it. You have to make a decision, and you have to get others to make that decision with you, and you have to become fearless together in the eye of the storm and, stand up against the naysayers who don't want to believe it, who think that if you pound your hammer harder on the donors, you will get more blood out of them. That's disgusting.
Yeah, that sounds horrible.
But that's what we didn't get enough money from that email. Just blast it again.
That happens.
Does happen. Yeah. Once we do that and you're ready, then you're ready. You've got your group, you've got your team, you're ready.
Yep.
Then you need to click the button. What's the button called?
Get the demo button?
Get the demo button. Go to iMarket Smart.
Yeah, we'll teach you
That's
some
how we're
stuff.
ending
We'll
this,
teach you some stuff.
Yeah, we'll teach you stuff. Or just get all the free stuff. There's tons of free stuff there.
There you can.
You don't have to get a demo.
No.
All right. So they could just go to iMarketSmart.com. That's how we wrap up the season.
Yep.
There's hope.
There's hope.
There's free stuff.
There's a book coming out that'll teach you even more stuff.
Book coming out.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Big plug.
Yeah.
Engagement fundraising. My phrase.
Yes.
Thank you, Tim, for a great season. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Engagement Fundraising. If you like the show, make sure to review it on iTunes and pass it along to a colleague. If you're curious about what we do, check out iMarketSmart.com and don't forget to try out Fundraising Report Card at www.fundraisingreportcard.com. Thanks again for listening to this episode of Engagement Fundraising.